Hello everyone, welcome back. Welcome freaking back. As you guys can see, some things are different behind me. We are officially starting our move. So some of my bookshelves have already been taken down and collapsed, but that is not what we were here for. What we are here for is surprisingly our quarter 2, good, bad, and disappointing. How in the world is it already the end of another quarter? How is this year just like flying by? It feels like every time I'm like, oh, it's a new month. By the time I realize it's a new month, it's already another new month. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like the world is just so fast right now. But as you guys just heard me say, I have packed up a lot of my library, so I am not going to be holding up any physical books for you guys right now, but let's just get to it. So for quarter 2, my good book is really a series of books. I have talked about this series quite a few times on my channel this month, and that is the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. I had been waiting to read this. I don't really know why I had been pushing it back so much, but I had. And I kind of am glad that I waited, because with the hype of the TV show, I felt like everything was feeling more, what's the word I'm looking for? With the hype of the TV show, it felt like I was also able to enjoy it with more people. I wasn't having to try to figure this book out on my own. I had other people who were also reading it with me, but The Deal is the one that I am mainly talking about because it is the first one in the series, and it's the one that jump-started my love for this series. And Gerrit Graham really is peak boyfriend. And what I mean by that is a lot of girls are fed these toxic relationships in the books and movies and TV shows that we watch today. It's kind of hard to find healthy relationships, and whenever you're giving our younger audience crappy men, they're thinking that that's normal. So having Gerrit Graham, having all of these men in the Off-Campus series be so lovely and so wonderful and so attentive. I always use that word and I don't know how to get there sometimes, so I'm just going to try to find a different word. All of the men in this series being so loyal and down bad for their women just shows that there are men out there that will worship the ground that you walk on, and I think that young girls right now desperately need to be seeing that. And that's kind of why I put this book in the good, not to mention just the plot of the story, the smut of the story. Really, the whole story in general was just a 5-star, 10 out of 10. Couldn't recommend it anymore. But I think the reason that it is so viscerally a good book, in my opinion, is because that we were fed a relationship that was so different than what we had previously seen in a few other books. You know what I mean? The bad. I need to preface this really quick by saying it wasn't a bad book in the sense of I didn't enjoy it. It was a bad book in the sense of it took me like 2 months to read it. It took me so long to get through that book, and usually whenever a book takes me that long, I'm not really enjoying it. So that's kind of why I needed to preface it, but it was the book It Was You by Jo Platt. This book really was a very, very sweet story. I loved the friendship aspect to the story. It wasn't necessarily a romance more than it was a book about people loving you to the point that they want the best for you, and I really enjoyed the book overall. It just wasn't my favorite of the quarter. It's not that it was a bad book, it's just truly it took me like 2 months to get through it. And I usually, you guys know me, I get through books pretty quickly. So if it takes me longer than a week, 2 weeks to get through a book, something is just massively going wrong. I'm not really going to dive too much into that one because it's not necessarily a bad book. And since it took me so long, my memory of the book is not the strongest because I had read the first chapter like 3 months ago. So that's kind of where I am with that one. And my disappointing book, I Might Be Dying on a Hill Alone. And it's not that it was like disappointing more than it was, I just felt like it was really surface level. And that was Just Friends by Haley Pham. I love Haley. I love her YouTube channels. I follow both of them. I love her husband. They are just a fun group of people to watch. I really do enjoy their content. I enjoy everything that they do. So I went into the expectations of getting a Haley Pham style story, a Haley Pham-esque, like, energy, I guess you could say. And instead of the excitable, funny, always lighthearted story that we got, it ended up being a pretty surface level but also a deep story. It's like she wanted to get to the thickness of this story, but her characters just fell flat for me. I was having a hard time feeling for her characters. I was having a hard time just really, it's not even relating to her characters, but truly her characters they had just fallen flat. And it really disappointed me because I went into this book with the expectations of falling in love with Haley as an author. And don't get me wrong, have I fallen in love with her as an author? Yes, because I got to watch it on her YouTube channel. I got to watch her blossom and I got to watch her do all of this stuff. So I still love her as an author, and I cannot wait to see what other books that she puts out in the future, because you can bet that I'm gonna grab them. I didn't hate this book, and I don't want it to be like putting bad words out there, you know what I mean? I really did enjoy this book. It just felt like some of it was just a bit too surface level for me. I needed, for the plot of that story, I needed it to be just a little bit deeper. I didn't need the whole like wrapping around all of the time talking about the same things. I was kind of hoping for growth, and instead we just kind of stayed stagnant, and that's just where I am with that one. I know this is a short video because usually my quarter videos are, but I'm gonna go through these books again. So my disappointing book was Just Friends by Haley Pham. I just explained why. My bad book was It Was You by Jo Platt, just purely because it had taken me so long to get through it that I was having such a hard time remembering what I had actually been reading, because there was too much in between. I had to put this book down in order to enjoy it. I couldn't just read it like I could binge any book. I really had to put this book down, and I don't know why. I just couldn't get into it, and it really irritated me, and I think that's just why I have to put it in the bad category. Even though it wasn't a bad book, I just truly could not get into the story. It felt boring. This year I just need to learn to DNF things and stop letting my inability to DNF books ruin a book. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with this book. Was if I had just DNF'd it and come back to it at a different time, it might have felt different, but I was pushing myself to get through that book, and I think that's kind of why it ended up falling so flat for me. And my good book was the Off-Campus series, the first 3, because those were the ones that I had read this quarter. I loved those books. They really are wonderful. They're wonderful books just to see the love and adoration that men can give their women, and I just love it. I just love it. But that's my quarter 2, good, bad, disappointing. What were your good, bad, and disappointing books this quarter? I really want to know, so please let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you leave a comment downstairs. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.